everyone, welcome back to UNC YouTube channel. Today I would like to talk about should we invest in property for cash flow purpose or should we invest into property for equity build out. Let's dive into it. When we mention about cash flow, it means that whenever we invest into a property, if we are able to rent it out, the rental is able to cover all the liabilities or expenses, including mortgage monthly installment, maintenance fees, etc., which you incurred in maintaining the rental property, and it still leave you with a positive rental income. That means this property is able to produce positive cash flow for you every month. Okay, when it comes to equity build out, if you look at the dictionary over here, it means that any assets after minusing out the liabilities, whatever that is left over, that is called equities. So for example, if today I were to go out and invest into a property where the market value is around 500,000, let's say, and I'm able to get it at 300,000. So I'm buying below market value of 200,000, and the difference of 200,000 will give me an immediate equity build up of 200,000. And if I were to take up loan on this property and my loan amount, let's say, is also 300,000, then of course my equity amount would be the market value of this property minus out the existing liabilities that I have on this property, which is the mortgage loan for this example. Then the equity that I have on this property is 200,000. So now that you know the difference between cash flow and also property equity, now we talk about when you invest in property, should you invest for the purpose of producing a positive cash flow, or should you invest in property in order to build up your equity? Let us reverse back to more than 10 years ago. More than 10 years ago, when you invest in property, it's quite easy, fairly easy for us to get a property deal where after buying the property, after getting a loan on this property, the rental that we are able to rent it out, the rental income is able to still give us positive cash flow after we minus out the monthly installment and the other expenses related to this property. But fast forward to today, in year 2020, I would say it would be very tough for us to be able to get a property deal where it can still produce the same positive cash flow. We would consider it to be a lucky deal if we are able to get a property deal where the expected rental income is able to just cover the whole expenses, including monthly installment for that property itself. We would have considered it a fairly good deal already. Don't you agree? So if today you are a property investor which focus solely on getting positive cash flow out of the property, then definitely you will find that it's very difficult to invest into properties nowadays, and you may even shun out good property deals if you just go out with this mentality in your mind of getting properties that can generate you positive cash flow. Instead, why don't you look at property investment from another perspective, which is the perspective of building up equity? When it comes to build up equity, especially if you are still young and you still have an active income, in fact, it is working in your favor. Why would I say that? Imagine if today all the properties you have invested in is able to produce positive cash flow for you, and you still have an active income. All this positive rental income is actually subject to tax, and combined with your active yearly income, this positive rental income which you get may get taxed by the government a fairly high amount, especially if you fall in the range of higher income bracket. So if currently you're still young, you're still having an active income, especially if you're having a high income bracket, I would advise you to focus more on getting properties with equity build up instead of focusing on getting property which can give you positive cash flow. Do not shun away from properties that can barely help you to cover your monthly installment, but if it can give you a high equity, I would say it's a good bet. Why do I say that? If you look at this calculation over here, today if you were to get a property A at, let's say, 300,000, but this property A you are buying at fair market value, and let's say it's able to give you positive monthly income of 200, yearly income you will have a positive yearly income of about 2,004. Am I right? versus another property where you are also able to buy it at 300,000, but the actual market value is 400,000. But the negative thing about this is that the rental income for this property is just able to nicely cover your monthly installment, and it will not produce you with any positive income. So which one would you buy? Let us do a calculation. Property A, you are able to get 2004 income cash flow every year averagely, and property B, immediately when you buy, you already have an equity build-up of 100,000, and even though it's not able to produce any positive cash flow on a monthly basis, but it can cover almost 100% of your monthly installment. Which one is better? If you look at the calculation over here, in fact, it would take you about how many years? Let me see. A year, if you're able to get a positive cash flow of 2004, it will take you about 41 years before you can get this 100K of equity. Versus property B, even though every month you do not have a positive cash flow, the rental that you can get can only cover your monthly installment without producing any extra income. But immediately, if you were to sell it off, you can easily get a 100K equity on it. And 5 years later, 10 years later, as your mortgage is being amortized over the year, the principal would have been paid down to a lower level, and at the same time this will mean an increase in your equity. So now you know that actually after looking at the calculation, definitely property B is way better than property A, even though property A is able to give you positive cash flow of 200 a month. So I hope today you have learned a lot, and next time when you go out there to shop for property, remember not only to just purely look at the cash flow, but if you are still young and still having an active income, remember to look for property with equity built up as the top priority. So that's it. This is my sharing for today. If you find the content to be beneficial, do remember to give a thumbs up to my video. Remember to subscribe if you have not done so. I upload my video on weekly basis, and if you do not want to miss out on any of my future uploads, remember to click the subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Okay, as usual, invest safe and see you again soon. Bye.